Today I want to talk about a bill making waves over in Washington DC. So anyway, it's called HR 5456 and it's known as the NOAA, which is Weather Radio Modernization Act of 2025. Now, on the surface, it all sounds kind of benign. After all, who could argue with modernising weather radio infrastructure? But as with many legislative proposals, the details matter. And that's exactly why I believe this warrants serious public scrutiny. Hello, yes, welcome to the channel. It's me, Chris Brooks. I hope everyone's well today. So what is HR 5456 claiming to do? Well, the bill proposes to upgrade and expand the NOAA Weather Radio, abbreviation NWR, / All Hazards Network, more transmitters, better coverage, especially in rural or underserved areas, with the goal of ensuring that every person in the US, including tribal lands and national parks, can receive unimpeded broadcasts of weather and hazard alerts. Proponents frame it as a public safety measure. However, why there's a cause for concern. And this is what is less talked about. Some advocacy sites like Geoengineering interpret HR 5456 much more critically. They raise several red flags, which I want to lay out. Not because I assert that they are all proven, but because I think that they invite further questioning and investigation. Expanded microwave radio infrastructure and exposure. The modernisation would likely require new transmitters, possibly at higher levels, to blanket underserved or remote regions. Critics argue that this would increase public exposure to microwave radiation, non-ionising electromagnetic fields, EMFs. They worry about the cumulative exposure, especially if combined with existing infrastructure, tower cells, radars, satellites, integration into broader surveillance or data network. Some voices suggest that weather radio upgrades are not just for broadcast, but also as nodes in a more comprehensive data collection and sensor network. The claim is that the infrastructure could tie into satellite feeds and other smart systems, enabling more granular environmental monitoring and potentially also behavioural and biometric monitoring, consent, transparency and oversight. Now perhaps this is the biggest issue. The public might not fully understand or be informed about the scale and nature of these upgrades. If transmitters, sensors and links are deployed in the quiet regions, forests or public land, communities may not get meaningful notice or a chance to weigh in, yet be subject to changes in electromagnetic environment or data infrastructure around them. Slippery slope toward geoengineering international weather manipulation. Some critics go even further, suggesting that embedding powerful transmitters and sensors could also facilitate or just mask more active climate and weather inventions. For example, directed energy, cloud seeding, cloud modulation. This is speculative, but because weather systems are so intimately sensitive, it is precisely such speculations that require oversight. So here's kind of what I'm saying to you. If we care about public health, environmental integrity and democratic accountability, we need to ask, at what power levels will new transmitters operate? Will they be significantly higher than what they operate at currently? Who will have control and access to the data? Will it be open, audible, or kept within opaque agencies and private contractors? Will there be environmental and human impact assessments? And in what transparency? Before deploying new systems, independent reviews should be mandated. Can communities opt out or have input, especially in those rural areas or indigenous lands? It's not enough to extend coverage. The process must respect local sovereignty. And what safeguards are in place for misuse or dual use, for example surveillance or directed energy? Any system with power to block broadcast over wide areas can in principle be repurposed. And finally, it's not just Americans concerned and raising questions about this. On July the 23rd, 2025, a group of physicians from the United States issued an open letter to lawmakers condemning the release of toxic substances and aerosols into the atmosphere for geoengineering or weather modification purposes. They warned that such practices endanger public health, pollute air and water, and violate the basic rights of all humans on this planet, calling them to be stopped and outlawed. It's a reminder that transparency, accountability, and independent oversight are not optional. They're essential if we are serious about protecting both our environment and our health. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, look after yourselves, and I will speak to you all again soon. Bye for now.
Hi, my name is Dr. Irene Mavrakakis, and I've been a physician for 32 years. I support the Mystic Bill as promoted by Steve Jarvis, and I join my colleagues and people across the country and world.
Hello, my name is Dr. Clayton J. Baker, MD. I'm a practicing physician with almost 30 years of clinical experience.
Hello, I'm Dr. Sheila Fury. I'm the president of the Virginia Medical Freedom Alliance, and I'm very concerned about anything related to climate change and what is at stake in all of our states. It is always concerning when people talk about the weather, because as we know, if you just wait, it will change. But what we have here is a concerted effort by the government and officials within the government or private entities to control the weather without consequence and without the people knowing about it. In every medical decision, you need to be aware of the risk, the benefits, and the alternatives of the treatment. With geoengineering, no one is being informed, first of all, that this is what's occurring and that there is a direct impact on their life and their quality of life. The impact on their life is what are they breathing in and what is coming in contact with their skin, what is falling on the plants and animals in the environment, and how does that affect each of us through our food supply, our water supply.
Every state needs to pass these laws. The federal government needs to pass these laws. Human beings have rights. Human beings have rights to know what is being done to them. They should not be sprayed with toxic chemicals without their consent. They should have informed consent, which involves full disclosure, not lying, gaslighting, and intimidation. Truthful information, not lies, saying, oh, this is just water vapor. They should be given a full understanding of what's going on, and they should be voluntarily granting consent or able to refuse it.
We may not see an immediate consequence, but long term, what we have seen is the ongoing decline in the health of the citizens of the United States. And we have to look, what are some of the precipitating causes, literally precipitating causes of this?
So when I was an anesthesia resident, oftentimes when we put people to sleep, we gave inhaled anesthetic gases, what most people think about as laughing gases. And what was always so obvious to anesthesiologists is the quickness by which what is inhaled is distributed amongst the body, the brain, and the organ systems. Those biochemical interactions are the basis for our specialty. And delivery of inhaled substances quickly affects the body, depending on what it is, and the subsequent consequences, long and short term, for substances that are used for geoengineering, climate modification, weather engineering, and the like.
What the people need and desire is a safe environment in which to live. And this can occur if people are doing so-called science without the consent of the people.
It is simply antithetical to the role of government, which is tasked to protect life, the right to choose what's put into our body, which is through the air, water, and food. Please remember that your job as state and federal government agents elected by the people is to protect us.
Our communities need to be safe, and they need to be safe from the control of government or non-government entities that are injecting particles into our atmosphere that are causing unintended consequences.
In July, I wrote a brief letter calling for an end to geoengineering, and I'd like to show it to you now. I got 18 other doctors to sign it, with more on the way. Here it is. It reads as follows. To all state and federal lawmakers, we, the undersigned physicians from across the United States, strongly oppose the spraying into the atmosphere of any and all toxic materials for geoengineering and weather modification manipulation purposes, including metals such as aluminum, barium, strontium, and others, chemicals such as sulfuric acid and others, materials such as graphene oxide and others. These practices, which are currently in widespread national use, can constitute deliberate polluting of the Earth's atmosphere, causing multiple toxicities to the population and poisoning the entire environment, including our air, water, and soil. In the name of the health and civil rights of all citizens, we call for such practices to be stopped and outlawed. Sincerely, Dr. Clayton J. Baker, MD, New York, Dr. Ryan Cole, MD, Idaho, Dr. Kat Lindley, DO, Texas, Dr. Kirk Moore, MD, Utah, Dr. Irene Mavrakakis, MD, Delaware, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, DO, Ohio, Dr. James Thorpe, MD, Florida, Dr. Lynn Finn, MD, Texas, Dr. Catherine Welch, MD, Indiana, Dr. Brooke Miller, MD, Virginia, Dr. Kimberly Biss, MD, Florida, Dr. Molly Rutherford, MD, MPH, Kentucky, Dr. Brian Tyson, MD, California, Dr. Christina Carmen, ND, South Carolina, Dr. Monique Robles, MD, MS, Tennessee, Dr. Mi Hyung Nguyen, MD, Florida, Dr. David Vela, MD, Michigan, Dr. George Fareed, MD, California. Citizens have a fundamental right in our Constitution to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These basic civil rights are being systematically denied through geoengineering activities. I urge all lawmakers to outlaw these activities at once and to bring them to a halt. I would be happy to testify as an expert at any time. Thank you very much.